Commissioner Bagger. The next meeting is the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, which we chair by Vice Chairman Jeff Linford. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is being held in public session in its entirety. At this point, I would like to ask the Board Secretary to advise those present of the composition of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, and any commission recusals on the items before the committee at today's meeting.
Thanks. The committee is composed of yourself as chair, Commissioner O'Toole as vice chair, and Commissioner LaBarbera, Pacino, and Rosado. All committee members are present today with the exception of Commissioners Rosado and LaBarbera. There are no recusals required.
I will now call on our Director of Tunnels, Bridges, and Terminals, Diane Ayler, to present an item that would authorize implementation of cashless tolling at the Goethals and Outer Bridge crossings. Diane?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today to recommend that you authorize the project for the implementation of open road cashless tolling at the Goethals Bridge and Outer Bridge crossing. Cashless tolling does away with toll plazas with its multiple lanes and islands and creates an open roadway using an overhead structure or gantry on which the toll equipment is mounted. All customers can flow through the toll point seamlessly without stopping. If they have Easy Pass, they continue just as they do today. If they don't have Easy Pass, an image is taken of their license plate and a toll bill is mailed to the registered owner of the vehicle for payment. The Bayonne Bridge converted to cashless tolling in February 2017, and the MTA converted all of its tunnels and bridges to cashless tolling at the end of 2017. Once customers use one of our cashless toll bridges, they will receive their tolls bill through the Regional Tolls by Mail program. To accommodate the addition of these two bridges in the Tolls by Mail program, there will be an expansion of some of the back office operations related to this program. Beyond providing seamless travel for our customers, advancing cashless tolling at the Goethals Bridge and Outer Bridge crossing will allow the region to realize a number of benefits, including reduced travel times with the end of stop and start traffic, resulting in nearly 200,000 driving hours saved annually, enhanced safety due to less merging and weaving with a 7 to 10% reduction in crashes, reduced auto emissions of 11.5 thousand metric tons of carbon dioxide, resulting in improved air quality, and a reduction in fuel consumption of 1.3 million gallons a year, resulting in annual fuel savings of 33 million. And for Staten Island, which already has open road cashless tolling at the Bayonne Bridge and the Verrazano Bridge, it will provide a consistent customer experience. While the greatest impacts will be positive, there are several other impacts. Cash will no longer be accepted at the toll plazas, and customers will need to use their Easy Pass or receive a tolls by mail invoice in the mail. To help those who still rely on cash, there will be over 150 locations in Staten Island, Bayonne, and Hudson County where customers can pay their tolls bill with cash. Due to the practical impossibility of continuing carpool discount plan, the plan would be discontinued at these facilities. There will be some revenue loss, which TB&T will partially offset through a combination of technology and process improvements, enforcement, and marketing. The scope of the work for this effort includes the design and construction of the overhead toll collection structure, or a gantry, for open road tolling, and the removal of the existing toll booths at the Goethals Bridge. The utilization of the existing express lanes at the Outer Bridge crossing for through traffic, design and construction of an overhead toll collection gantry for the local exit lanes, and the removal of the existing toll booths and a canopy to create a more open road experience, and the expansion of the back office operations to accommodate the increased number of tolls by mail accounts and invoice mailings. This project is projected to result in 504 job years, $37.8 million in wages, and $56.1 million in economic activity. Commissioners, You need the next slide there. Commissioners, shown here is a breakdown of the total project cost of $52 million. These monies are not programmed in the current capital plan, but TB&T has identified $52 million in offsets. Included in the total project cost authorization is authorization for the executive director to award a contract for all work necessary to deploy cashless tolling at the Outer Bridge Crossing and the Goethals Bridge at an estimated cost of $27.9 million, and amend the memorandum of agreement with the Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority and the New York State Thruway Authority to reimburse the Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority for capital costs to expand the Customer Service Center in Endicott, New York, to support the increased volume of toll-by-mail transactions, estimated at $2.4 million. We are also requesting for the executive director to amend a contract with Conduit with an increase of $11.1 million, including $1.2 million for capital startup equipment costs and ongoing tolls-by-mail operation support for these two facilities. Finally, due to the practical impossibility of administering the plan with cashless tolling, we are requesting the discontinuation of the Port Authority carpool plan at these facilities upon the implementation of cashless tolling, which is what was done at the Bayonne Bridge. The work order contract will be awarded during the third quarter of 2018, and open road cashless tolling is expected to be operational the second quarter of 2019 at Outer Bridge Crossing and the third quarter of 2019 at the Goethals Bridge. The construction schedule will be deployed and developed in coordination with the affected communities. Commissioners, I am requesting that you advance this item, to the full board for approval today.
Thank you, Diane. I'd like to call upon Commissioner McCabe. Did you have some comments, sir?
I do, through the chair and the vice chair, thank you very much. I want to recognize and thank, first and foremost, the executive director for working and understanding some parochial issues that took place on the New Jersey side of the Outer Bridge crossing. And this project could have had an adverse impact. Diane, to you and your entire staff, thank you for taking the time to meet with members of the community, the leadership of our delegation in that area, local communities that have had a tough go of it over the last couple of years, and has had a profound impact on their communities. And to all, thank you very much for taking the time, the effort, and the understanding to allow them to not only voice their issues, but to listen, to understand. And I've heard back from a multiple number of those who were at the meeting. In fact, I had a meeting yesterday with Assemblywoman Lopez, who went out of her way to state how appreciative she was for the time and effort that you and your team put together. So to the director, through the chair, thank you very much for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from my fellow commissioners? May I please have a motion from a committee member who is not recused on the matter to move the item forward for consideration by the full board? Have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is passed. Thank you, Diane.
And thank you.
Now we will discuss with, on PATH, rail vehicle procurement, exercise of the option to purchase, presented by Clarel DeGraff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you very much. Today, I'm requesting authorization to exercise an option to purchase 22 additional PATH rail cars at the cost of $66 million to address the increased demand being experienced today and to provide for future passenger demand. You may recall in December, you approved the purchase of 50 rail cars from Kawasaki Railcar Incorporated to more fully benefit from the implementation of the communications-based positive control technology that is part of the Signal System Replacement Program. Once operational, PTC will increase peak capacity by approximately 19% system-wide. Staff expects continued strong growth in the foreseeable future and forecasts the majority of the growth will be concentrated on the Newark to World Trade Center line. Exercising the option now to purchase an additional 22 rail cars will provide additional capacity gains in meeting PATH passenger demand. Altogether, The car purchase program, including the December 2017 board action and today's request, will provide $216 million for the purchase of 72 cars and all associated costs. Included in this project is authorization to exercise the option to purchase the additional 22 cars from Kawasaki at a purchase price of $2.3 million each. Secondly, it also provides for a project increase. It will increase the previously authorized 50-car purchase by 22 additional rail cars. In your authorization of the 50-car purchase in December, the 22-car option was provided for subject to future board authorization. I am here today to ask for that authorization. Additionally, I am requesting authorization to extend an existing agreement with LTK PTG at an estimated cost of $1.1 million to continue to provide expert professional services as necessary for the implementation of the rail car purchase, bringing the total authorized contract amount to $32.6 million. Together with the 50 cars, LTK will be receiving $6.6 million. The purchase of the 22 additional cars will enable PATH to begin increased train service from Newark to World Trade Center, which is the most crowded PATH service line, as early as 2022. This purchase will allow PATH to better serve Newark to World Trade Center line customers by increasing that train capacity by an additional 13% during peak ridership periods. The combined benefits of PTC, the 50 rail car purchase, 50 rail car previously authorized, plus the 22 additional cars being requested today, would result in a 23% increase system-wide capacity. This project will provide economic benefits to the region by increasing available transit capacity, particularly during peak weekday travel periods. It is also expected to generate 130 job years, $7.7 million in wages, and $35.2 million in economic activity resulting directly and indirectly from the project expenditures and activity. Commissioners, today I am requesting that you approve this board authorization.
Thank you. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions or observations they'd like to share? May I please have a motion from a committee member who is not recused on the matter to move the item forward for consideration by the full board? Okay, may I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second? I'm sorry, did I hear a second?
Ray, second? Yes, you are.
Thank you. Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is passed. Thank you, Clarell.
Thank you.
This concludes today's meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management.